So, right off the bat, I know this isn't the kind of video I normally make, but I wanted to touch on something that has been bothering me about Deltarune Chapter 2. More specifically, theories that people have for the game. More specifically, that Ralsei is going to be a twisted villain in the future. And though I can understand where people get this idea, I have to say I disagree. Allow me to go over the evidence they have compiled for this theory, and then go over some thoughts of my own. I couldn't find any B-roll to put in the back, so enjoy staring at a low-res Ralsei chuffing back a fat dart. Reason one is, and I see people go over this one a lot, how did Ralsei get to the cyber world? And I genuinely don't have an answer for that, considering it isn't explained or touched on further within the chapter. However, I do not think him being able to travel between dark worlds makes him evil. More than likely, Toby didn't think to write it in when he showed up, considering there's current ongoing conflict with Queen capturing Noelle. I feel like something like Ralsei's teleportation powers is too easy to catch on so early in this game's story, to have made it that he's going to be a secret villain. Toby would most likely have that truth buried extremely deep within the game's story. For example, you can beat Undertale and not know that Flowey is actually Toriel and Asgore's son Asriel. Another example would be Gaster. Gaster's story and influence with the main game can be completely overlooked by the average player. A lot of the clues to both of these things are introduced subtly and touched on more later. The fact there's so much evidence to begin with here makes me think that this twist won't happen. That being said, it doesn't mean Ralsei isn't hiding something. My next point would be that Ralsei doesn't turn into stone in the card world, which is what I'll be calling that first area, or in Cyberworld. But when Lancer and Rules both go to Cyberworld, they petrify. People speculate this could mean Ralsei isn't who he says he is, but I have a little theory of my own. Ralsei says that Castle Town's dark fountain is made up of pure darkness energy, meaning that anyone, statue or not, can live there. If Ralsei comes from that dark world and was basically born in it, it makes logical sense that he would not petrify, or, at least be more resistant to it. Another point that I have would be that Ralsei is aware that Card World is just an old classroom in the Light World, but no other Card World resident mentions that fact. In Chapter 1, the player does not know that they are just in the old classroom, and not some fantasy world. Wouldn't it throw the complete flow of the story off if a character like Lancer just up and said, "Oh, we're actually in an old classroom, by the way, lol." Doesn't make sense. Perhaps these characters are already aware, and Toby didn't want them to spoil what was really going on in the first chapter of the game. Well, you might be asking, then why isn't there dialogue about them in Chapter 2? Easy answer, it was an oversight. Or perhaps Toby just had a lot of really good jokes for the characters in this stage of the game. My proof? Queen mentions her dark world is trapped within the confines of a library. Now, it is a bit of a toss-up whether it's just the people who've directly interfered with the night, I'm gonna keep that take because fuck you, who have this insight, or if it's everyone. It's hard to say. Overall, I don't think Ralsei is gonna be some big villain, and as more evidence, I'll show you this picture. Though something I will add is that Ralsei definitely is aware of more than we think. He is the only character, besides Spamton, to directly refer to Chris's soul. He also talks about pressing keys or buttons to do certain actions, and Susie has no idea what he means. And the thing that he does, right? Where Susie's off on her own, and he's all like, "Oh, close your eyes and imagine what Susie's doing." I'm like, bitch. Anyways, I'm gonna leave. It's 2:30 in the morning as I'm recording this, and I'm really tired. I'll try and upload some better content. I'm planning on getting some kind of better editing apparatus to my 5-year-old iPhone with iMovie installed, so some things like reviews might come your way. Things like Hades or Age of Calamity, things I've just kind of enjoying recently. And also some movies I find interesting that nobody else is talking about. So, don't expect that soon, just later, Anyways, this is Julia, signing off. Bye. Sorry if I have to record this again, I swear to God.